Oh, well, the story that I hear is that there's an economic development group here in town, but a guy came from Nebraska buying a car, and he stopped down at the local dealership, and the guy got to asking him, because he was on the development committee, and found out he was going to start a manufacturing plant in Alma. And of course, being the salesman, sold him a car, and also talked him into building the business here in Norton. And that's pretty much how I got started. The extrusion press that you'll see here a little later came out of a scrapyard that he had found somewhere and purchased to start his own aluminum extrusion company. And his ideas were a little far-fetched. It didn't work. And over time, it kind of went on the downslide. Just through luck and hard work, we was able to make it work. I started in '72, and there was like 5 or 6 employees, somewhere like that. And we were still trying to sell extrusions. And that wasn't going to work because our extrusion press is not a large production press volume-wise. So got into a niche of extruding and welding up products, and that's how we started growing. Well, it's the dunnage racks, and that was one of the first, my first day on the job. We went down to Smith Center to look at some dunnage racks that actually had failed. In this Mini-Max was the name of the place. It was a Bogart operation that they stacked milk about 14 feet high, and the dunnage racks didn't work. So that was my first day on the job. Bill and I went down there and looked at it, and we modified them so they'd work. But I suppose the can rack, the 1250 can rack, we started building those in the '70s, and we still build them every day. Dunnage racks and can racks, every day, build them. But we have hundreds of different items now too. But it kind of happens in spurts, you know, back in 2000, whenever the stock market crash was, 2008 or 9, or whenever that was, we had to lay off 17 people, and we hired most of those back. But it's just been a gradual growth as we expand different areas that we sell products to, that it grows, and then we have to grow with it. And we've added, right now we're about 160 employees, which is the most we've ever had. Our night shift welding is growing. That's where we're hiring now, is on night shift welding, saw, extrusion press, and we may have to go with night shift in the fabrication department too, we don't know. But that's all growing because the day shift is pretty well filled up. And we're adding on, well, right now we're adding on another 8,000 square feet of building, and we're adding an air conditioning system. So keep a little cooler in here in the summertime. Well, the internet is an important part of our business, but we don't, as far as internet sales, we don't have none. You know, we use it as a web page, and people can get on there and take a look at our products. We haven't really expanded that yet as far as selling on the internet. The automation part, we automate all the time in our production facilities. We try to automate every facet that we can. And that automation creates jobs. It doesn't really cost any jobs. Our robot welders, we utilize them 2 shifts a day. You'll see a lot of automation in the back where the processes are automated, which eases the work-related activities, but we're able to produce more, which allows us to expand in more markets. But as far as the internet, we just got a new web page put up, but we still don't do the internet sales. The e-commerce part, do a lot of, you know, your checks. Hardly get any checks. You know, we get checks, but a lot of it just paid, you know, credit card or bank transfer or whatever. So it's changing, and we couldn't do without it. That's for darn sure. Nearly all orders that come in, either there's a very few faxes that come in. There's a few, but we still have to have the fax, of course. Phone orders are down. We don't take very many phone orders. We do the phone mainly, you know, when you're talking to the customer, designing new products, you'll use that. But you'll use the internet when you're sending out drawings or whatever. Orders come in, a lot of it's on the e-commerce part, and it's substantial. It's amazing how much does come in that you don't see or don't hear the phone ring, but yet the orders are there because it comes in off the internet. We have to take care of the customer. I mean, that's the number one thing, is taking care of the customer, and we do that. We do a very good job of that. Our lead times now have gone out to where it's starting to hurt a little bit, but we're working on that, trying to get them down a bit because our business has just exploded this year. So we've had kind of a tough time getting caught up. But yeah, we do take care of the customer, number one, and build a good product, sell it at a decent price, and take care of them. But I don't know whether their expectations have really changed. It's changed some because they expect you to like different processes that we have to do, different drawings, and different consultants have a different way of wanting our products so they can design different things for them. And it's constantly changing, but our larger customers are that way. The Costco's, Amazon's kind of that way. They're planning ahead. Like now they're planning for next year. So they know how many stores they're going to have, and we kind of have an idea of how many they're going to put in. So that gives us a little heads up on how to plan on down the road. There's still a lot of daily new orders that come in, but our bigger customers have a better idea of what's going on in the future, which helps a lot, because that's our large volume of our business. One of our customers sells loading ramps for ATVs in the back of a pickup, and right now is their busy time. So we kind of know earlier in the year that this time of year they're going to be ordering more, so we keep a little bit more in stock for them. And they're one of our larger customers too. And then it all depends on the winters that you have too. The bigger customers, if they have a tough winter, well, they're not going to be building as quickly as what they thought. You got to have to flex with that a little bit too. We're limited on warehouse space. We're going to help that a little bit with this new addition, but we try not to warehouse a whole lot. We'd rather build it and get it out of here. But we do have to stockpile some. Costco we do, Tucker Rocky we do, Amazon we don't, because as soon as it's done, it's gone. There's a few that we'd have to stock some items because that's just part of our agreement. And we keep a certain amount of stock for generic items, that everyday items that somebody might want to order. But we try to keep our warehouse to a minimum. Well, aluminum prices have been fairly stable. Some of the costs kind of fluctuate dealing with aluminum, but we usually try to get a yearly contract so that it stays fairly, we know what it is, so we can price a year in advance if we have to. But we try to keep 6 months to a year supply on hand, just in case something happened. Aluminum is what we do, so sure. If we don't have it, we can't do much. So we keep a lot on the floor, ready to go. Yeah, we have 4 or 5 engineers on staff that work with the customers in designing different products. And it's like you said, the customer will have an idea, and then we take what we know we can do and build a product that we think will fit their needs. It might or might not, so we got to bring it back and modify it again. But over time, we get it to where it's what the customer is going to be able to use and want. And it's pretty amazing how that process works. Do a lot of 3D drawings so that before the product is even built, they know whether it's going to work or not. And that's the same way with building products for customers or building equipment for out back. They'll build it on the computer, and then yeah, this will work. So then they build it and it works. And they do a lot of that with customers. They'll send them a drawing and show them how it works. And it's a lot different than it used to be. Some products will start out and then let's change it a little bit. And then some other customer will see it and, well, I'd like to have that, but let's change it a little bit. And you'll have a product that might go through 6 or 7 variations. And it's the same product, but it's just built a little different because somebody else wants it just a little. A good example is an enclosed cabinet we made for Walt Disney World years ago. They wanted a transport cabinet for their cafeterias, I suppose, I don't know. So we built one and sent it down there. Well, it didn't work. It worked, but it wasn't strong enough. So we still have the standard enclosed cabinet. We have one that's called a WDW, a Walt Disney World, that's built a lot stouter. You can't tear it up. So it evolved, you know, the products evolve like that. It's just amazing how many different variations you can have off of one general product. Well, our billet comes from New Madrid, Missouri. They've been a supplier since I started here in the 70s. They're the only supplier in the United States of the type of billet that we use, which is not a good situation, but that's the way it is. They're the only ones that supply it. It's kind of scary. We do have another supplier, but I'd rather not use it. So we get truckloads all the time from them, and our sheet coil could come from anywhere, we don't know. We just order it from a broker or something and it comes in. And extrusions, we're limited in size of what we can extrude here. So a lot of times we use a larger extrusion in some of our products and we have to go out and buy that. And we have several different suppliers of that. And it comes from all over too. Most of it will come from Yankton, South Dakota, but we do have several suppliers of that. We'll extrude around 4 million pounds this year. And aluminum sheet, we'll probably use 500,000 pounds of that. And purchased extrusions, probably around 500,000 pounds of that too, somewhere in there. There's a lot of manufacturers of billet in the United States.
Okay.
Some of them make secondary billet, which is taking your cans or your pots and pans, melting them down, and it's secondary, or our scrap. We send it away and it gets remelted down, that's secondary aluminum. It's not primary.
Okay.
We use primary aluminum. That way we know what's in there, and it extrudes better for us because we can't extrude secondary very well. Plus, I'd rather have primary for our products. Our products are top notch. We got to use primary aluminum. Primary aluminum, New Madrid, Missouri, is down on the Mississippi River, excuse me. And they bring up barges of the alumina, and there's aluminum, there's copper, there's silica, there's iron, there's all sorts of stuff mixed in to make our aluminum billet. It's not just aluminum, pure aluminum, because pure aluminum wouldn't have any strength at all. So they smelt it down there in these giant buildings they have down there. And they make all different kinds of alloys and make a specific alloy for us. Pizza Hut was one of our first big customers for that 1250 can rack. 1250 and then the short one, the 1225. These guys in Kansas City were big into Pizza Hut at the time, and they got that in there and they went everywhere with it. Meyer Food Stores, that's a huge customer of ours. You go in there and you'll see rows and rows of our product. Costco, like I said. Well, I think everybody knows what the advantages are living here as opposed to a big city. I've lived here since 1970 in this area, and I've never been bored a day in my life. You know, it's always something to do if you want to do it. The people are just tremendous to work with. You couldn't ask for better people. We can hire. We've hired engineers from different places to come out here if they want to get away from that and move their families out here. A lot of people do that. We're tired of the city life. We don't want to raise our kids here, you know, and we've been able to do that.